Hey everyone, welcome back to my new video. Did you know your system can run itself without manual control? Today, I'm sharing my practical experience on how to automate any process in just a few simple steps. Whether you're in manufacturing, power plants, or any industry, this method works everywhere. No more constant manual adjustments, just set it up and let it run automatically. Stay with me till the end, and I'll show you how you can implement this easily. Let's get started. Instead of confusing you with complex PID equations, I'll go straight to the concept. My goal is to make it easy for you to understand and apply in real-world scenarios. Whether you're a student, technician, or engineer, this explanation will help you implement PID control like a professional. By the end of this video, you'll be able to use it effectively in any industry. Okay, let's have practical things for my students to have hands-on experience. Watch this video to the end. PID controllers are the backbone of industrial process control, but why do we use them in industry? The answer is simple: automation, precision, and stability. These controllers ensure industrial processes run smoothly without constant human intervention. Whether it's maintaining temperature, pressure, flow, or level, PID controllers keep everything in balance, automatically adjusting to changes in real time. Okay, I want you to clear the difference between auto and manual operation in the simplest way possible. Many people get confused between auto and manual operation, so let me make it super simple. In manual mode, the operator controls everything. Imagine you need to maintain 10 bar pressure downstream while the upstream pressure is 20 bar. Let's say, to maintain an outlet pressure of 10 bar, the control valve is positioned at 50%. If the pressure drops to 9 bar, the operator increases the valve opening to 60% to restore the pressure. However, at 60%, if the pressure rises above 10 bar, the operator gradually closes the valve to 45%, 40%, or even 25% to maintain stability. Since the pressure does not remain constant at a fixed valve position, operator manual adjustments are required every few seconds to a couple of minutes, along with continuous monitoring to maintain outlet pressure. The operator will remain engaged in maintaining outlet pressure with manual mode. Now, let's move on to auto mode and understand how a PID controller works without any operator intervention. It receives an analog input, such as 4 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 10 volts, from a sensor and then processes this data. Based on the required set point, the PID controller automatically adjusts the output, either analog or digital, to control a device like a valve positioner or any other actuator, ensuring precise and stable process control. Now, in automatic mode, we simply enter the set point into the controller and it takes care of everything. The controller automatically adjusts the output to maintain the desired pressure without any manual effort. I'll explain PID tuning later, but for now, just look at how precisely the PID controller maintains pressure compared to manual control. For example, the set point is 10 bar. Watch how smoothly the controller keeps it stable. If the pressure drops to 9.9 or 9.8 bar, the control valve slightly opens to bring it back up. When it reaches 10.1 bar, the valve slightly closes by just 1%, ensuring perfect control. This is the power of PID automation. No constant monitoring, no manual adjustments, just precision at its best. Did you know? A PLC can do the same job as a PID controller. The difference? A PLC has a built-in PID block in its software, which processes the input and controls the output automatically, just like a standalone PID controller. This makes PLCs powerful for complex automation while still ensuring precise control. Let's move on to PID controllers, which are also used for temperature control. They are called temperature controllers because they only accept temperature sensor inputs like thermocouples or RTDs. However, they perform the same function as other PID controllers. They take the temperature input, process it, and generate a digital output using a solid-state relay. This relay turns the heater on to raise the temperature until the set point is reached and turns off the heater to stop heating. Okay, now I will explain the wiring termination to my students to help you understand how easy it is to control tank temperature using a PID controller. Did you know you can achieve the same function using a magnetic contactor as well? but I will explain that later. Let's quickly go through the wiring process for tank temperature automation. First, power up the PID controller by connecting AC 220 volts to terminals 8 and 9. Next, connect the thermocouple sensor, the red wire to terminal 6 and the blue wire to terminal 5, allowing the controller to measure temperature. Now, let's wire the solid-state relay, SSR. Connect terminal 3 to the SSR's positive pole and terminal 2 to the negative pole. This lets the PID controller switch the heater on and off efficiently. Finally, wire the heating tube in series with the SSR output. Once set up, the PID controller will continuously monitor and adjust the temperature with precision, no manual intervention needed. In the same way, you can use a magnetic contactor to maintain tank temperature with a heater. And guess what? It's super easy to set up. I'm showing you this to build your confidence so you can see how simple it is to connect and start an automatic process. Okay, ever wondered how industries keep liquid levels perfectly controlled without overflowing or running dry? So, let's dive into level control systems using a PID controller, the brain behind stable operations in water tanks, power plants, chemical plants, and oil refineries. Here's how it works. A level sensor continuously monitors the liquid level. This data is sent to a PID controller using a 4 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 10 volts signal, the mastermind PID controller that decides whether to increase or decrease the flow. But how? Enter the pneumatic control valve. It adjusts the fluid flow by opening or closing based on signals from the PID. The PID controller can be of any brand or company. You can also use a PLC or DCS, as I previously explained. Based on the analog output, the pneumatic control ensures precise movement of the valve, balancing the level in real time as it receives signals from the PID controller, either through a 4 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 10 volts signal, depending on the positioner input type. Imagine a boiler feed water tank in a power plant. If the water level drops, the PID controller commands the valve to open, letting more water in. If it's too high, the valve closes slightly, preventing overflow. Simple? Yes, but crucial for preventing shutdowns, damage, and costly downtime. If you love engineering, automation, and industrial secrets, hit like and subscribe for more. Keeping in view the interest of my students, I am giving you further examples to love automation more. Okay, now we are going to maintain the tank level through a motor control instead of a pneumatic control valve as we did previously. I'm giving this example to my students to build more confidence in automation. If someone says we need to automate something, the first thing that comes to mind is PID. It can be a PID controller, a temperature controller using PID control, a PLC with a built-in PID controller, or a DCS. Here, we are using a PID controller to send commands to a VFD to maintain an accurate tank level using motor speed control. When the level is low, the VFD will increase the motor speed to increase the water flow. When the level is high, the VFD will run the motor at a lower speed or stop it based on the PID controller. The level sensor installed in the tank continuously measures the liquid level and sends an analog signal, just as I explained earlier, either 4 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 10 volts, to the PID controller. This signal represents the actual tank level, also called the process variable, or PV. Next, the PID controller compares this process value with the set value, as you saw previously, the target level you want to maintain. If there's any difference, the controller sends an analog output signal to the VFD, either 4 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 10 volts, to adjust the pump speed. The variable frequency drive, or VFD, controls the motor speed, which in turn controls the flow of liquid going into the tank. If the tank level is too low, the VFD speeds up the pump. If the level is too high, it slows down. Since the control valve is not installed in the line, the motor will maintain the level based on the VFD control command. This creates a smooth and automatic feedback loop. Remember, the PID controller makes decisions, the VFD controls the motor, and the positioner or valve fine-tunes the flow. All of this is automatic, helping you achieve stable and reliable control without manual intervention. Okay, Now I explain to you another way to maintain the tank level automatically using a VFD with a built-in PID controller without needing any external PID system. You can also use the same with a PLC as well. Let's break it down. How the tank level is maintained using a VFD. You have a tank, a level sensor, a motor, and a VFD, as you previously saw, and these work together to keep the water level at the desired point. The level sensor continuously measures the water level inside the tank and sends an analog signal to the VFD. This signal can be either a 4 to 20 milliamp current signal or a 0 to 10 volt DC signal, just like any standard process input, as you have seen before. Now, here's where the magic happens. The VFD is not just a speed controller, it has a built-in PID function. That means it can read the level sensor signal, compare it with your desired set point, and adjust the motor speed accordingly, all by itself. So what does this do in real life? As the tank level drops, the sensor output signal changes and the VFD's PID algorithm detects that the level is below the set point. Instantly, it increases the motor speed to pump more fluid into the tank, raising the level back up. On the other hand, if the tank level gets too high, the PID will slow the motor down, reducing the flow and bringing the level back down to where it should be. The motor speed is continuously adjusted by the VFD based on the sensor signal and the set point you've programmed into the VFD's PID settings. This eliminates manual monitoring and ensures precise tank level control 24/7. Let's talk about flexibility. You can easily set the desired tank level by changing the set point value inside the VFD parameters. You can also fine-tune the response by adjusting the proportional, integral, and derivative values in the VFD's PID settings. This allows you to control how fast or slow the system reacts to changes in the tank level. In summary, this setup is simple, reliable, and efficient. No external PLC or PID controller is needed. Just a level sensor, VFD with built-in PID, and a motor. That's it. So the next time you think about tank level control, remember, a VFD with built-in PID can do it all, taking analog input, adjusting motor speed, and keeping your process running smoothly and automatically. I hope this helped you understand how easy and powerful tank level control through a VFD can be. Let's quickly understand PI and D tuning. P stands for proportional. It reacts to present error. Too high and the system oscillates. Too low and the response is slow. I is integral. It corrects past errors. It removes steady offset, but too much makes the system sluggish. D is derivative. It predicts future error. It smooths the response and reduces overshoot, but too high makes it noisy. Remember, P handles the present, I corrects the past, and D anticipates the future. Okay. Here you can see the manual of the temperature controller. You can see how to move into parameters and adjust the P, I, and D settings to make the response according to the requirement. It can be slow or fast, depending on the needs. I hope you like my video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video as a token of appreciation. It literally took a lot of time to bring such an informative video for my students. I hope you 100% understand this.